Morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for joining today. So we have an exciting announcement. Frontline Agent, which is part of Microsoft 365 Copilot, is now in public preview. And just to give a little background about me, I am a senior product manager on the Microsoft 365 for Frontline team. So I focus on industries such as healthcare, retail, travel, transport, hospitality, manufacturing, just to name a few. So really focusing on how do we empower the frontline workers who have slightly more different needs than information workers like some of us who are at our desk. Frontline workers are typically on their mobile devices. They're on the go. They're helping customers if they're a store associate. So we built an agent to help make their work a lot easier. And given the needs that I had discussed. So some of the main issues that frontline workers experience is inefficient information retrieval. So, there are manuals, they might be living in SharePoint or sometimes even in the like big, big books in person that they have to look through, in case that there's an issue that comes up, or they are maybe new to the role and they're not really sure how to do something or perform a task. They can go there to get help. And then also just fragmented communications and manual and outdated processes. So, sometimes a lot of this communication happens in person, sometimes it's also in Teams and other places. And, frontline workers have very little time on their digital devices or on their mobile devices. So making sure that they can quickly see and catch up on what they've missed and what's going on while they were helping a patient or a customer is really important. And so the idea here is an out of the box agent. And excuse me, I'm losing my voice again. As an out of the box agent in Microsoft 365 Copilot. And the idea is it requires very minimal setup. There is some configuration if needed, but you can actually go into Copilot right now and look up Frontline Agent, which is in public preview, and try it out. And you'll notice that the responses are much more simple and concise and jargon free. Um, and the reason for that is because there's only so much space that you have on a mobile device. And there's only so much time that you have to actually read something if you need to help a customer right away. You can also use this agent in the Microsoft Teams chat rail. And you can also scope as an admin, you can scope down to a select number of SharePoint sites, especially if, let's say, some of the SharePoint sites maybe aren't ready yet, and maybe they have multiple versions of documents and you need some time to configure and set them up and clean them up. So you can actually scope down in Microsoft Teams Admin Center. And that scoping will apply to both the version in Copilot and the version in Teams Chat Rail. And the reason why we have it in Teams Chat Rail is so that you can just reach out to the agent just like you would as a colleague. So the agent is providing simple and concise responses, and I want to show that in a demo so that you can quickly find answers on SharePoint sites, Teams, chats, and channels. So those are the ones that we're starting out with. I have a very exciting roadmap that I'll be able to share in a few weeks from now. But for now, this is the agent that we have out that is live. So if we go through the demo, let's say I'm a frontline worker, I just started my shift. I'm going into the agent, I go into the prompt book, which has a lot of these prompts already ready for me. And with just one click of a button, I want to get caught up on what I missed. Maybe there were some important promotions or some changes in this particular store. So I can get this all. And as you can see, it's providing as short of a response as possible, but still making sure that you're walking away with the action items that are most relevant to you. And now that I'm caught up as a frontline worker, I haven't done the morning opening in a long time. I don't want to ask my manager because this is something that I should know. But the agent provides a safe space for me to actually get that checklist. So Here it's much more simplified, so I can just do a quick recap. If I want to see more, I can. But if, the big thing here is it is as concise as it can be, and I can open the document if needed, especially if it's my first time doing something like this. And then, now that I've caught up and I know how to open the store, let's say I forget how to process a return. A customer has come by and they're in a rush, so I want to quickly figure this out. So I get the steps of what I need to do, and I can go and fix that right away. And then I remember my manager, Adriana, mentioned something about promotions. I don't remember which group chat or channel that might be in. Let me just ask the agent so I can get that and I can know exactly where that was stated if needed. And then, especially how frontline managers have to prepare shift handovers at the end of the shift so that they can pass it on to the next manager. And the next manager knows what to focus on, especially if there's something really urgent that needs to be addressed. So that the agent can also help do that. So it looks at all the chats and channels that have happened, especially those that are group chats and team channels, and puts together the full notes, any open tasks and issues, and organizes it in a way so that you could just copy and paste this and put it into, send it to the manager group chat or somewhere else. So it really helps the next manager get started and move more quickly. So in terms of some resources, we did announce the agent at the National Retail Federation conference a few weeks ago. But I just want to emphasize that the agent is not only for retail. There are so many healthcare applications, travel, transport, hospitality, manufacturing, public sector, and we have an exciting roadmap to come. And in terms of some other frontline AI use cases, you can also take a look at the use case library for each of these different industries. And then our documentation is here in the technical resources, and I'll put this all in the chat as well, to learn how to set up the frontline agent, especially if you want it in the Teams chat rail or you want to scope down SharePoint sites. And you can also take a look at some of the one of the customers that we've worked with closely, which is TM Drury, and this is all public as well with the videos. So I'll copy and paste all these resources and put them in the chat. But thanks so much for joining and for listening to the Frontline Agent. We're really excited for folks to try it out and give us feedback so that we can continue making it better.